the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent departs for Myanmar relief mission. CRS-AFP welcomes new commander. Senate reminds Filipino to follow host country's laws. Myanmar death toll hit 1,700. Good day everyone, as well as our troops at Camp Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. Today is Wednesday, April 2, and we will bring you the latest news from the armed forces and other information around the Philippines. In behalf of Rob Suzon, this is Jai Simbahon for AFP Community News. DWDD Armed Forces News. And members of the Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent departed from Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base, Pasay City yesterday to provide humanitarian assistance to earthquake-affected communities in Myanmar. The PIAHC is comprised of members and personnel from the urban search and rescue teams from the Philippine Army, Philippine Air Force, Bureau of Fire Protection, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, and Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Private sector, the Philippine Medical Assistance Team from the Department of Health, and coordinators from the Office of the Civil Defense. The 91 members of the PIAHC were transported via C-130 aircrafts, 58 of which were initially transported yesterday for their 2-week deployment, while the remaining 33 members will be transported today. Meanwhile, the mission affirms the government's dedication to humanitarian assistance, reinforcing our nation's commitment to swift disaster response and regional cooperation. DWDD Armed Forces News. And the Civil Relations Service Armed Forces of the Philippines welcomed its new commanding general in a joint change of command and change of chief of office ceremony held at Tejeros Hall, AFP Commissioned Officers Club, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. The event welcomed Brigadier General Oliver C. Makiling, Philippine Army, who officially assumed command of CRS-AFP, succeeding Major General Ramon P. Zagala. In his message, Presiding Officer and Vice Chief of Staff AFP Lieutenant General Jimmy De La Rida recognized the incoming chief, highlighting their leadership in driving the organization's continued success. Meanwhile, Brigadier General Makiling was a proud member of the Philippine Military Academy class of 1991 and served as Assistant Division Commander of the 7th Infantry Division before his designation as the new CRS-AFP Commander. DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio. For other updates, let us hear the details about 525th Combat Engineer Battalion joins PIAHC to aid victims of magnitude 7.7 earthquake in Myanmar. Go on for the details, Angel.
Yes, Jai, the 525th Combat Engineer Battalion of the Philippine Army joined the Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent to provide humanitarian aid to the victims of the 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit Myanmar. Along with the Combat Engineer Battalion were 505th Search and Rescue Group of the Philippine Air Force, Bureau of Fire Protection, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, Department of Health, and the Office of the Civil Defense. Last February 2023, the 525th Combat Engineer Battalion was also one of the contingents that provided aid to Turkey during the onslaught of a massive earthquake that killed thousands of victims. Meanwhile, the deployment of the 525th Combat Engineer Battalion underscored the commitment of the Philippine Army to execute complex rescue operations and to provide immediate humanitarian aid to the neighboring countries. This is Angel Cruz Camomot reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Angel. And the 6th Infantry Campilan Division presented a total of 1,031 virus firearms to Philippine Army Commanding General Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido during his visit to 6ID headquarters. 6th ID and Joint Task Force Central Commander Major General Donald M. Gomiran reported that these weapons were recovered through the relentless military and law enforcement operations conducted by the JTFC. Out of the 1,031 firearms, 761 firearms were classified as captured, confiscated, surrendered, and recovered, a CCSR from 2024 up to the present date, whilst 272 firearms were collected under the Small and Light Weapons Management Program. Meanwhile, in his message to the troops, Lieutenant General Galido reaffirmed that the Philippine Army remains steadfast in its mission to uphold national security and promote peace through effective disarmament initiatives. And the Naval Forces West conducted a medical evacuation operation for a distressed civilian from Lawak Island, West Philippine Sea to mainland Palawan. Florentino Dilalamon, a civilian contract worker stationed at Lawak Island, required urgent medical attention due to body pain, swollen extremities, and movement difficulties. Medical-trained personnel at Lawak Station conducted initial vital signs, monitoring and facilitated the telemedicine consultation of the patient with a medical officer of Naval Station Apolinario Halandoon, wherein he was diagnosed with gouty arthritis. Meanwhile, NFW's BRP Valentin Diaz, PS-177, transported Dilalamon from said island station to mainland Palawan for proper medical care.
DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio.
On the other line, let us hear more from Meljoy about Zone's young leaders hold a peace rally to condemn the NOA violence and support the WPS. Meljoy?
Yes, Jai, grade 12 students from Jones Rural School in Jones, Isabela organized a peace rally with the support of the 86th Infantry Highlander Battalion under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Empizo W. Angalao, commanding officer. The peaceful rally highlighted the youth's strong commitment to the government's efforts in raising awareness about the West Philippine Sea dispute and condemning the 56 years of atrocities committed by the New People's Army. The youth expressed their collective grief and outrage over the New People's Army's exploitation, deception, and recruitment tactics, pledging to end the terroristic activities that have plagued their community. They also reaffirmed their dedication to upholding the government's rightful stance on the West Philippine Sea. Held in conjunction with the Youth Leadership Summit, the event has demonstrated the unity between the youth and the Highlander troopers in promoting peace and national sovereignty. The 86th Infantry Battalion's active involvement underscored its commitment to ensuring the security and well-being of the community within its area of operations. This is Meljo Inesio Arroco reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Meljoy. And the 5th Infantry Star Division and Isabela State University Ijaki campus signed a memorandum of understanding that establishes military mental health resilience program during the first quarter of the Multi-Sector Advisory Board meeting held at 5th Infantry Division Headquarters, Camp Melchor F. de la Cruz, UP Gamo, Isabela. The MOU aims to provide adequate information and free services to the troops through the program Beyond the Battlefield Military Mental Health Resilience Program. 5th ID Commander Major General Gulliver L. Cineras, Philippine Army said the program will help the troops' performance in every mission assigned to maintain peace in the areas covered by 5th ID. Meanwhile, the signing of MOU underscores the commitment of both the 5th ID and the ISU Itchage to bolster the troops' morale and welfare in order to maintain excellent operational performance to the unit's mission success. And the Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. announced that this year's Balikatan exercise will be a full battle test for thousands of participating Filipino and U.S. soldiers. In his speech during the Northern Luzon Command's anniversary celebration, General Browner said the AFP and the U.S. are now testing all the plans, doctrines, and procedures that were developed in the past years and will be tested in the conduct of this year's Balikatan exercises. According to the CSAFP, during U.S. Defense Chief Pete Hegseth's visit last Friday, he reaffirmed the U.S.'s continued commitment to Philippine security and that the NOLCOM and the Western Command, which both exercise jurisdiction over the West Philippine Sea, would have the bulk of support. Meanwhile, the Balikatan exercise is expected to take place late this month and will be running until May.
DWDD Armed Forces News. Armed Forces Radio.
Now let us hear a reporter on the ground about Northern Luzon Command marks 38th anniversary lauded for strategic foresight. Go on for the details, Joanne.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines Northern Luzon Command celebrated its 38th founding anniversary on April 1 at Camp General Serviliano Aquino, Tarlac City, with the AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo S. Brown Jr. as the guest of honor and speaker. Also in attendance was Commander NOLCOM, Lieutenant General Fernil G. Buca, Philippine Air Force, along with other distinguished military and civilian guests. The event highlighted NOLCOM's significant role in ensuring the security and defense of the northern part of the Philippines. Several awards were presented to outstanding individuals and units, recognizing their significant contributions to NOLCOM's mission and the AFP's broader objectives. Another key highlight of the anniversary celebration was the launching of the Command Operations Center Protocol Book, an essential document aimed at enhancing operational coordination and efficiency within the command. This is John Sagao reporting from Northern Luzon Command for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Joanne. For our national news, Senate President Francis Escudero reminded Filipinos in Qatar, as well as other working overseas, to observe the laws of their host countries to avoid legal distresses. This came after Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo Vega reported that one of the 20 held by Qatari authorities for holding a political rally was released through the intervention of the Philippine Embassy in Doha. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs in Qatar, any type of political rally is prohibited, and any individual found guilty of violating the law could face the imprisonment of up to 3 years. Meanwhile, the country's labor attaché in Qatar, who is also a lawyer, is providing legal assistance to the detained Filipinos. And the residents are advised to be prepared for sudden weather changes and bring umbrellas when heading out. In Metro Manila and the rest of the country, the easterlies from the Pacific Ocean continue to influence the weather, and the temperature is expected to remain hot and humid throughout the day. A frontal system is currently affecting the northern portion of Luzon, bringing rainy conditions to the mainland Cagayan, Isabela, and Apayao areas. Meanwhile, there are no low-pressure areas or typhoons that may affect the country.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And let us hear more updates from Leonor about Philippine Air Force holds send-off ceremony for rescuers bound to Myanmar. Leonor?
Good day, everyone. The Philippine Air Force held a send-off ceremony at the Philippine Air Force Gymnasium, Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base in Pasay City, for the Philippine Air Force contingent set to be deployed to Myanmar. The said contingent was comprised of highly trained and experienced rescuers and medical personnel together with humanitarian aid teams from other government agencies. The Philippine Air Force team bound from Myanmar include personnel from 5 Officers and Rescue Group, Philippine Air Force Aeromedical Teams, aircraft security teams from 7th Special Operations Wing or SPAW, to be ferried by C-130 air crew from the 220th Airlift Wing. Meanwhile, Philippine Air Force Commanding General Lieutenant General Arthur M. Cordura, Philippine Air Force, reaffirmed the PAF's commitment to offer immediate, life-saving assistance in times of crisis and highlighted the force's readiness to contribute to the nation's commitment to regional and global humanitarian efforts. This is Leonor Tan reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Leonor.
DWDD National News.
And death toll surges to more than 1,700 due to the recent magnitude 7.7 earthquake that hit Myanmar. With this, the Philippine government sent out its Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent, which departed from Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base, Pasay City yesterday to provide humanitarian assistance to earthquake-affected communities in Myanmar. The 91 members of the PIAHC were transported via C-130 aircrafts. Meanwhile, the remaining 33 members will be transported today.
DWDD National News.
And the Police Regional Office 10 announced that it has activated its annual summer vacation security operations from April 1 to May 31 to safeguard peak travel periods. 1,266 personnel were deployed across northern Mindanao to enhance security plan will focus on 3 key areas of deployment: 357 officers will secure churches and pilgrimage sites during the Holy Week observance. 215 personnel will be stationed along major thoroughfares to manage traffic flow, while another 176 will monitor transportation hubs. Meanwhile, the PRO-10 said it has prioritized security for 18 high-traffic locations, including Camigin's White Island, Bukidnon's Dahilayan Adventure Park, and Iligan's Maria Cristina Falls.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And we have a report coming in from Sena about UST ROTC visits 2ID training school in Tanay Rizal. Sena?
A total of 489 cadets from the University of Santo Tomas ROTC unit under the Department of Military Science and Tactics, along with 14 training staff, participated in the familiarization, firing, and warfighting at Camp Kapinpin, Tanay Rizal on March 30. The one-day training at the 2nd Division Training School provided cadets with hands-on military experience, including obstacle course and rope course to test endurance and agility, assemble and disassemble of rifles for weapon proficiency, and live firing exercises to enhance marksmanship skills. They also witnessed an arnis performance showcasing the discipline and combat techniques of the Filipino martial art and observe a static display of military assets, giving them a closer look at the capabilities and equipment used by the jungle fighters. This is Sena from NOLCOM reporting for AFP Community News 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Sena.
DWDD National News.
4 Filipinos earlier reported missing following the powerful earthquake that struck Myanmar. The Philippine Embassy in Yangon's assistance team reported that rescuers have not yet found the 4 Filipinos. 2 of the 4 Filipinos are a husband and his wife residing in a building that collapsed following the magnitude 7.7 earthquake that hit the country on March 28. Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakda called for prayers for the 4 missing Filipinos.
DWDD National News.
And the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology warned that an even stronger tremor may hit the country due to the movement of the Philippine Trench. PHIVOLCS Director Teresita Bacolcol said that with the movement of the Philippine Trench, a magnitude 8.1 earthquake is not remote, and a magnitude 8.3 earthquake is also likely if the Manila Trench located in the West Philippine Sea moves. According to Director Bacolcol, the said dangerous earthquakes will also trigger tsunamis. Meanwhile, the Philippine Trench is the submarine trench in the floor of the Philippine Sea of the western North Pacific Ocean, bordering the east coast of the island of Mindanao.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
And now let us hear more from Gina about USMSOT train 6th FAB personnel. Gina?
Yes, Jai, the U.S. Marine Special Operations Team provided a lecture for the 6th Field Artillery Battalion personnel. Focus of the discussion was on observed fire procedures using unmanned aerial systems. The training aimed to improve the 6 FAB troopers' skills in utilizing technology for artillery operations. Meanwhile, practical exercises were also conducted for the 6 FAB personnel to allow them to apply what they learned, enhancing their ability to conduct effective fire missions. This is Gina reporting for AFP Community News 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Gina. The Department of Agriculture is considering the implementation of a maximum suggested retail price for garlic to prevent potential profiteering. According to Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr., an MSRP on garlic will have to wait as the agency is currently focused on stabilizing the prices of rice and pork. Chu Laurel said the proposal to impose an MSRP for garlic was put on hold after the price of the commodity fell to its current level of 100 per kilogram. Meanwhile, he said that if the prices spike again, the agency will likely proceed with the implementation of an MSRP. And Metro Rail Transit Line 3 General Manager inspected all stations of the rail service. MRT3 General Manager Michael Capati's inspection aimed to assess the condition of all facilities, including escalators, elevators, and comfort rooms of the MRT3. According to the MRT3 chief, the situation on the ground is vital to providing appropriate solutions to passenger concerns. Meanwhile, Capati served in the same capacity in 2022 and was the MRT3's Director for Operations since 2017.
DWDD National News. Armed Forces Radio.
More updates about troops thwart encounter attempt in Maguindanao del Sur. Go ahead for the details, Spencer.
Indeed, troops from the 6th Infantry Redskin Battalion successfully seized various weapons and explosives after stopping the clash between two armed groups in Barangay Ganta, Sharif Saidona, Mustapa, Maguindanao del Sur. According to 6th IB Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Al Victor Berkeley, Philippine Army, the unit received a report from residents about an encounter between an armed group led by Badruddin Tagandal and Bendao's team. The troops immediately responded to the report that resulted to the immediate retreat of the said armed groups upon seeing the presence of military groups. Meanwhile, 6th Offers Infantry Brigade Commander Brigadier General Edgar Cato, Philippine Army, reaffirmed its commitment to continue safeguarding the area and alerted the units occupying the scene to repel the fledgling armed groups. This is Spencer reporting for AFP Community News. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Spencer. Let us hear more from Shaira about MAREX 2025 kicks off in Maguindanao del Sur. Shai?
Good afternoon. The Joint Marine Exercise 2025 between the Philippine Marine Corps and the U.S. Marine Corps officially kicked off through an opening ceremony held at the 1st Marine Brigade, headquarters in Camp Iranon, Sitio Bombaran, Barangay Tugaig, Barira, Maguindanao del Norte. According to Brigadier General Romulo Quemados II, commander of the 1st Marine Brigade and the exercise director, a total of 480 Marine personnel and other security forces will participate in the exercise, which will run until April 11, 2025. Along with the Philippines and the U.S. Marines, other service branches personnel, including the Philippine Army, Regional Mobile Force Battalion of the Philippine National Police, Philippine Coast Guard, and Marine Reservists will also take part in the exercise. Meanwhile, MAREX 2025 aims